Hello friends. So for the last few weeks I have been working on creating a ramen dish at home. Something you can make that resembles an authentic experience that you would get in a ramen shop. Not this stuff. This is like your packaged ramen with the spice packet and the dried noodles. And most of us have had that and it's pretty delicious, but it's not your classic authentic ramen experience where you go to the ramen shop, you get this juicy big bowl with a wonderful broth and those chewy ramen noodles. So delicious. It's been one of my favorite dining experiences in the last year. At first I didn't really understand the hype. I even went to a ramen joint one time and still I was confused. I was like, oh, bowl of noodles, what's the big deal? But over time, as I've gone to more of these ramen shops, my mind has been blown how you can take a bowl of noodles and make it taste so delicious. And not only that, it's just one bowl of noodles, but the experience seems to change throughout the entire meal. It's crazy stuff, but there's a place around me called Chuko, and it's my favorite ramen joint in New York City. It's so good, and I saw a video on YouTube making the vegetarian ramen, and they don't go into specifics on the recipe, but they do give away, you know, the general idea of how you make the ramen. So I took that video and brought it into my kitchen, and I've been working on it. I've made it about 4, maybe 5 times, and the other week I really nailed it. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to make it, and I think I'm going on a hike tomorrow. So I figured I'd prepare the whole dish, kind of bring you behind the scenes on how to make it, all the different steps, and then I'll take it on my hike and maybe prepare it outside for you guys. There are definitely a few big factors that separate the ramen experience apart from other standard noodle soup dishes, one being that ramen broth. When you are sitting there slurping on those noodles and you're taking down that broth, there is really nothing better than that salty umami deliciousness. So I'm gonna take you through the steps to make the broth. We're actually gonna do a vegetarian or vegan style broth, but the cool part about making ramen is you can create a vegetarian broth, but it's all about the toppings because you actually end up topping it with whatever you want once the soup is done. So you can add on meat or eggs, whatever you want later. But the first step is making the Kombu Broth. Kombu looks just like this, and it's a dried seaweed from Japan. And the whole idea behind the seaweed is it adds that serious umami flavor. It's basically like adding delicious seawater to really enhance the saltiness of your soup. The kombu is gonna take the place of a meat or fish product that you would use to get that salty flavor. So what I'm gonna do is take this water bottle, and I'm actually using the water bottle because I'm gonna pour the broth back in there so we can take it on the road. Pour that into some sort of Tupperware, something storage wise, and then break off a few pieces of the kombu and just slip that in, and you're gonna let that sit overnight so the flavors really start to subtly infuse. Here's our kombu stock. It is soaked overnight. I did that last night, and let's give it a smell. Smells delicious, smells like seawater. Pretty much when you put salt into this, it's like basically making edible seawater. It's delicious, and this is what it looks like. It's not really edible seaweed, it's more for flavoring, but we'll try it. I mean, I guess you could eat it. Doesn't taste like much, but there's one more step to making our kombu stock. We're gonna take this and we're gonna heat it up, almost like steeping it at this point, just bringing out a little bit of extra flavor. So I'm just gonna bring the kombu up to a nice light simmer, and you're basically steeping it at this point. So once it comes up to a simmer, we're gonna strain it out and we're gonna add salt. And that's basically your kombu stock. Actually, at this point, you could add bonito flakes. Let me see if I have them. I do have bonito flakes. But the truth is, I'm not going to use these because I don't love the taste of bonito. It's very intense. It's a dried fish flake, and it's something you have to be used to.
And honestly, just the kombu by itself is enough for me. But if you wanted to make a pure dashi stock, they call it, you would add the kombu and the bonito flakes at this point. So just sprinkle in some bonito flakes if you want a dashi stock.
While the kombu is coming up to a simmer, I thought it'd be a good time to look through my fridge and see what toppings I want for my ramen. And that's one of the most fun parts about making ramen is you can really top it with anything you want. Once you got your delicious soup base, it works so well with so many different things. I've had tons of different meats, whatever veggie you can find. So I'm gonna take a look and see what I got in my fridge that would work well for this ramen. And again, I'm making a vegan ramen base, so maybe I'll throw in some meat, whatever I got. Cauliflower, half a head. I'm gonna roast that, that's perfect. I bought these radishes specifically for this ramen because I've been super into cooking radish. Radish raw is delicious, it's got that intense bite, but when you cook it, it turns into a totally different experience. We're gonna add those. Then I did wanna add, where are you? There you are. I've got turkey breast. We were recipe testing for a company the other week, not the other week because this turkey breast would be bad, but the other day, and I made a turkey pizza. So I had a lot of turkey breast left and I thought it'd be a great topping to the ramen, but I want to sort of Japanese-ify this thing, so I'll figure that out later. Definitely gonna add that. Eggs, half-boiled eggs in ramen, you can't beat it, so I'll probably do that. Half-boiled, quarter-boiled, three-quarter boiled, we'll see what happens today. Blue cheese, no, that's not gonna work, that's not gonna work, that's not gonna work. Okay, I think that's good for this ramen dish. We'll start with all of these ingredients. We'll see what happens.
I'm happy with that right there. It's starting to lightly bubble and it's steaming. It looks steep to me. I'm gonna strain off the kombu. I'm adding some sea salt at this point, and the combination of the kombu stock and the sea salt, oh Lord, that is your ultimate sea stock. Good to flavor anything, not just ramen, but you add this into any soup, you're gonna have a super umami bomb.
The kombu stock that's steaming away right here, not necessarily something you want to take down on its own. It tastes very similar to salt water, like I said, so the whole point of this isn't to drink it by itself, but to enhance the flavor of other ingredients. So what we're gonna add is two other main ingredients to the soup base. We've got miso paste. I'm sure many of you guys have had miso soup, but this is a fermented soybean. Again, it's really salty, but it has just a delicious fermented, unique flavor. And then this oil right here, this is the only thing I'm not gonna show you how to make because I did it for a ramen about 3 weeks ago and I still have some left over. But this is a ginger, scallion, garlic, and chili oil. And I believe it's a Chinese technique, but what I did was I chopped up garlic and chilies and ginger and scallions, and then I heated up oil until I threw in one of those scallions and it started to sizzle. And then I poured all the oil all over those ingredients and they really infuse and the flavor is amazing. You let that cool down and strain it. So this is like our last secret ingredient in our stock. So I'm gonna create the ramen stock right now.
We'll start off with our kombu stock. Okay. Then I'm gonna do a few little squeeze droplets of the miso paste. Maybe, I don't know, 2 tablespoons to 1/4 cup. But you can always alter the saltiness. You just keep adding this stuff as you taste. And then a few squirts of this oil. Oh, so yummy. And if you don't have this oil or you don't want to make this oil, you could always use just some garlic and chilies and scallions. Throw those right in there. You're not gonna get the same exact flavor. I'm trying to recreate this ramen I had in the restaurant, but I've done that before and you still get some good infusion, so that will work as well. Just stir that on up. While our ramen base is coming up to temperature over there, we're trying to get that to a boil. I'm just gonna chop up some cauliflower and roast it. You can just kind of pick apart these guys. Ooh. And then slice down the stuff. All different chunks and sizes, no big deal. We'll have some browner pieces, but I like that. I like the contrast. Dressed in oil, salt and pepper, ready to roast. Oven's on about, let's say, 425 degrees. Bottom rack. Usually what I do is close that, set the timer for 10 to 12 minutes, so it gets really nice and crispy and brown on one side. Then I take it out, toss the cauliflower around so it doesn't burn on that bottom, and cook it for another 5 minutes. Okay, our soup is just lightly boiling now, but you see how the oil is separated? That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen with oil. It's gonna separate from the other liquids. So what I saw in this video online of the way Chuko did it was they took an immersion blender and they stuck it in and they emulsified all the oil together with the other liquid, and it created this really creamy soup base. I don't have an immersion blender because my brother chopped a hole in my chest once with that and I'm scared of it. Actually, it's not the reason I don't have it. I think he took it from me when I moved out. I would love one, but I don't have one right now. So I'm gonna take this over to the blender. I've got a Vitamix here, but you can use any blender. And just blend that up so it emulsifies together, and you'll see it's gonna create this creamy goodness. One thing I haven't figured out yet is this foam situation. Look at this. It's like the head of a beer right here. It's like 2 inches of frickin' foam. I'll let it settle a little bit and then I might just skim it off the top. But I really do like this emulsification process. You can see it's all mixed up nicely in there. Time to rough chop some radish.
Ten minutes on the cauliflower.
Check this out. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. See that roastiness? So I just give that a turn so the other side gets a little bit of color. And that color, I'm telling you, just equals delicious flavor. And then I'll throw that back in for another 5 minutes. So we cook the cauliflower through. I've got a pan on medium heat here. I'm just gonna add some oil. Coat the bottom of the pan with oil. Then I'm gonna add my radish. And you're just slowly sauteing these things, getting some color on it. Again, like I said, the bitterness is gonna be removed through this cooking, and you're gonna get some serious caramelized flavor in there. It really blew my mind. The first time I saw this done was a guy named Magnus Nielsen on Mind of a Chef and Chef's Table. This guy is a mind-blowing chef, but he was sauteing radish and it gave me the idea and I tried it. Blew me away. Try it at home. Roasted cauliflower, all done. Very happy with those results. It's easy to roast things. Very simple. Just salt, pepper, and oil. Let me try one of these babies.
Oh, hell yeah.
Check out these radishes. Very happy with the color on that. Let's see. Okay. They're good. I definitely overcooked them just a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different consistency, a little softer. Still should be delicious in the soup. The flavor is spot on.
We've got our soup base, we've got our veggies that go on top. What is the third and final component that makes ramen ramen? Ramen noodles. Now this is actually a very important part about the ramen experience because there's so much variety in the type of ramen noodle you can get. Now these puppies, these are very special. This comes from the heat is on here. This comes from the Sun Noodle Company. And the funny part about the Sun Noodle Company is they are so damn good at making ramen noodles that if you look at the top 10 ramen joints in New York City, apparently like 9 out of those 10 use the Sun Noodle Company noodles. They don't even make their own noodles. They're like, screw it, we'll stick to making the other components. We're not laboring over making handmade noodles. We'll leave it to the masters. So that's what these things are. And the cool part about Sun Noodles as well is you can go on their website and you can type in your address and see what places nearby you actually sell these. The only place around me is Whole Foods. It's one of the only reasons I still shop at Whole Foods. When I'm there, I am definitely loading up on a few packets of these things because they're so good. And ramen noodles, the special part about them is they're an alkaline noodle. And what that means is it's not just a regular wheat noodle. It has, I believe it's baking soda in it or something to change the alkaline level of the noodle. And that makes it very chewy. So when you're having a real ramen experience, it sounds like a drug or sexy. A ramen experience is really, it is up there on the other experiences. You're gonna be chewing on these things, and at first you're like, whoa, that noodle's undercooked, but it gets very addicting. It's this chewiness that keeps you coming back for more. So the whole process of cooking this is very simple. They're fresh noodles. We're gonna get a pot of boiling water. First I'm gonna cook the egg in there, and then I'm gonna cook these noodles, but you only cook them for 2 to 3 minutes. I made a video before on Asian noodle soup in 15 minutes, and I cooked those for longer. And although I got kind of destroyed in the comments for cooking those noodles for longer, I wasn't necessarily going for that chewy ramen experience. They were softer, there was more contrast, but if you're making a true ramen soup, you do want them chewy, so only 2 minutes. I'm also gonna cook them separately, remember that. You're not necessarily cooking them in your soup base. You're cooking them separate in their own pot of water, and then you're adding them to the soup base so you don't have any interference.
One of the sexiest components to a lot of your ramen noodles is the half-boiled egg. You see it a lot. It adds really good flavor because you have the creamy yolk, but then you also have good texture from the hard-boiled white. So we're gonna take these eggs right here, 3 of them. We've got some boiling water, and eggs boil in 12 minutes, hard boil in 12 minutes. So we're gonna place those down and set it for 6 minutes since we're going for a half boil. The eggs cooked for 6 minutes, and then I put them in this ice water right here to stop the cooking process. Because if you just left the eggs out, then you would get maybe 3/4 boiled eggs. It would continue to cook, and we don't want that. Even though that would be pretty good, we're going for the half boiled. Now we'll let them sit and cool off, and then we'll peel them. Now we're gonna move on to these puppies. It's time to boil these in the same water we just boiled the eggs in. Noodskis are in the water, and I'm just going to move them around so they don't clump together and stick. And then we will set our timer for 2 minutos. I wouldn't normally do this, but because those ramen noodles are so hot and we're not serving them immediately, I'm just gonna rinse them off with a little bit of cold water to stop the cooking process, so they'll be the same consistency for tomorrow when I serve these on the hike. I might even add just a tiny bit of oil to them after they're rinsed as well, or cooled down, so they don't stick together.
We are just about done our ramen. We finished almost every step, but I did tell you I would Japanese-ify this turkey breast right here. I don't know exactly what's going down, but I do know of a technique where you kind of create a sticky teriyaki sauce, so I figured that would work for this. So first I'm gonna sear off the outside. This thing's completely cooked, but I'll sear it off in the pan to create a crust, and then I'll create the teriyaki sauce and see what happens.
Okay, first I'm just gonna add a little bit of oil and sear off these turkey breasts. Create a beautiful crust. Okay, now I've got my hot pan, and I am going to add soy sauce. Whoa. Okay, turn my pan down a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of rice vinegar. And then I'm gonna add maple syrup. The maple syrup is what adds the sugar, so when that reduces, it should be a nice sticky teriyaki sauce. See, it's already reducing. Look at that. Starting to become very similar to like a thick syrup. Just a little longer, a little more water reduced out of there, and we'll be good to go. Okay, I think I'm happy with that reduction right there. It's nice and thick. We're gonna put our turkey breast back in there and then coat those babies. I think I need to switch the tongs. And also we're just gonna add some sesame seeds Sprinkle those in. Let's see what that does. Coat these up. Looks like teriyaki to me. Yummy, yummy. Okay. Last little trick I want to throw in there. I've got this julienne peeler. It's got these little teeth in there, and I'm gonna take some scallions and take the julienne peeler and just run them down like, oh, that didn't work. Hold on. Maybe if we stack them. There we go. Run it down like that. And you've got these nice little scallion shreds just like that. You throw these in cold water so they keep nicely till tomorrow, and then you can stack them right on your soup. You got a little bit of freshness, a little bit of crunch, and a little extra onion flavor. Delicious. We have done it. We completed every step of the ramen prep, so I'm gonna pack up the stuff. I'll take you through real quick what we did, little overview. We've got the ramen noodles. We've got this delicious soup. Look how creamy that is. Here are the scallions. They are sitting in ice water. We've got the radish, sauteed radish. We've got the half-boiled eggs. I still have to peel those. Those are gonna be a huge bitch to peel, but I'll do it for my friends. Roasted cauliflower, teriyaki turkey. Let's pack it up. Check out this sliced up turkey. Look how good that looks. Wow. So tasty. It's gonna be delicious.
So the hike did not work out, but you know, that's life, shit happens, we're moving on. Luckily, I live next to this beautiful park that we're walking to, so we're gonna do a little ramen picnic in the park. See you there.